Welcome back to the Super Sim series. Last episode, our werewolf Super Sim Tina, who's named after the legend Tina Fey, was born with 4 inherited traits. As Tina will be gaining almost every trait, mastering every skill, graduating with all of the university degrees, reaching the top of every career, and completing every collection, having these additional traits from birth made for the perfect start. And as an infant, Tina would need to lock down one more, being the top-notch infant trait. This one is a little bit elusive though, as whether or not it's awarded to a sim upon them aging into a toddler is dependent on how much attachment they have, with very high attachment rewarding this trait. Hence Tina will need lots of love and attention, which definitely thwarts my usual infant playstyle of ignoring their existence and turning off sound to mute their cries. There is also a second reason Tina will need attention, being to complete milestones. While I won't be including milestones as part of my Super Sim challenge, as an infant there's a key advantage to doing them, being that upon aging up into a toddler, infants who have completed lots of fine motor, gross motor, and social milestones will get a small head start on some of their toddler skills, effectively making the toddler phase of the challenge easier. To kick off infant life, I moved Tina and her mum Sally out of their house in Chestnut Ridge and into a new 30 by 20 starter home located in San Sequoia within a new save file. Yes, I came in just under the 20k budget. Yes, the random tree was essential because who doesn't love a tree? And also yes, Tina was given the world while Sally was given a bed and nothing else. But let's be real, we know Tina's the most important one in the family. Also know that as I made the house, I've popped it up onto the gallery for you to use should you want to. Now despite being given the biggest room, it wasn't all going well for Tina, because the game was actually trying to tell me that Tina was corrupted. The audacity. After some tinkering, I found that if I cheated to make Tina a teenager whereby she unlocked her werewolf form, then she would stop being corrupted. So now I just had to pray that I wouldn't have too many problems with Tina's early life. It was then that I thought to myself, was I truly getting a Sims experience if I wasn't getting a potentially game-breaking bug from the get-go? This was just par the course. In a second Sims experience, Sally too also had a problem, and I'm not talking about her peak towny hot weather outfit, which is a problem in itself. You might remember that in the first episode I cheated to make Sally go from an infant to an adult instantly. Well, it turns out that her infant quirk of frequently hiccuping never quite went away. So if throughout the episode you see Sally fall to the floor, adopt a toddler pose and hiccup before snapping back, well, now you know why. After moving in, it didn't take long for the welcome wagon consisting of the Robles Ruano family to show up. And side note, I do love a hyphenated last name, it's like double the fun. In true welcome wagon fashion, I accepted the fruitcake that they brought over, and then immediately asked them to leave. Partly because they placed the fruitcake next to the toilet, which was unacceptable. With the welcome wagon out of Sally's hair, I gave Tina a bubble bath to complete both the first bath and the first bubble bath milestones, and I then sent Sally over to the magic realm. You see, I felt Sally being a spellcaster would make the playthrough feel a bit cheaty, so I decided to have her ask for the rite of dissolution so that she could go back to living the muggle life. Morgan Ember was quick to perform it, likely after seeing Sally's hot weather outfit and deciding that the less they had in common, the better. After returning home, it was time to give Tina some attention, and after quite a bit of tummy time and lots of tears, little Tina learnt to reach, lift her head, and coo. Tina was developing well, and by now I'd learnt all of her quirks. She was a picky eater, she loved wake-up time, and she also hated to be held. You know, just an all-around joy of an infant to care for. More awkwardly, I was also learning more of Sally's infant quirks too. Turns out that in addition to the frequent hiccups, she's also gassy. Not going to lie, she kind of just feels cursed at this stage, but also low-key iconic for all the wrong reasons. On the plus side, she loved the fruitcake that the welcome wagon brought over, which was really helping in keeping her needs met. Overnight, Tina had her first diaper blowout and woke up smelling horrible. And this wasn't the only blowout. Sally also blew out her diaper. Just kidding, she's not that broken. I'm actually talking about the less scandalous budget blowout, with just 16 simoleons in the household fund. Sally and Tina literally couldn't afford anything, and bills would certainly be on their way soon. So after some more tummy time with Tina that saw her reach the roll over to back and roll over to tummy milestones, I sent Sally to Del Sol Valley with stars in her sight. Not so much because she adored them, but because she needed to profit off of them. After a morning of searching for celebrities and being thoroughly disappointed, I changed up my approach from visiting Ward Park and instead went to Studio PBP. This has the hottest spot in town lot trait and it delivered. 3 Sims died from the heat. I'm just kidding, but Sally finally found some famous people. These famous people being Thorn Bailey and Dirk Dreamer, and while Thorn happily handed over his autograph, Dirk rejected me like 5 times and then left the lot. By this stage I felt bad for how desperate I was making Sally, so I had her head home. Also like she was about to pee her pants and pass out too. Upon returning home, Sally appraised the autograph before then selling it for its new value of 300 simoleons, which I then invested into a Birdie's Bee box which would start producing honey that I could on-sell. While Sally was fixing her needs, Tina, who was now able to do tummy time independently, was busy crying on the playmat and unlocking more milestones, including laugh, grab, creep, and the ability to put her toes in her mouth. Love that for her. And after Sally cared for and bonded with Tina, it was then time to bond with the bees so that they'd produce better quality honey. This went very smoothly. Well, until it didn't. But overall, Sally was winning over the bees. Now, while I could have collected swarms from the hive and sent them to get me gifts, I decided not to because it risked them bringing back a collectible. And all collectibles would need to be found by my Super Sim Tina, so I didn't want to confuse myself by having Sally preemptively collect some. However, I could still collect a swarm to use for self-defense. As Vlad Daddy approached my front door, I grabbed one of these swarms of bees and sent them to attack. But Vlad stayed around. You know, he's a persistent man who really needs to learn his place. So after being mean to him, I had Sally beat him up. And surprisingly, she won despite having literally no fitness skill. Sally also won the rematch that Vlad instigated too. And after sending him home, it was revealed that Tina unlocked her slept through the night milestone. And then when having her diaper changed, she peed all over Sally. That's right, a back-to-back milestone achieved. After spending more time on the playmat and the floor, both with and without Sally, Tina also learnt to clap, to babble, to sit up, and after a bit of time spent playing with toys, she achieved the pincer grasp milestone too. Surprisingly, Vampire Vlad Daddy actually returned the next night to drink from Sally, and it all happened without me even realizing until it was too late, with Vlad even warning that he'd be back. I was really beginning to feel like Vlad was against me in this Super Sim challenge, and I planned on holding a grudge. That morning, with Tina in a good place, Sally collected and sold the honey and wax from her bees, bringing the household funds up to around 200 simoleons, which she then used to purchase a bookcase that awkwardly went into the kitchen, as well as a kids radio. Sally then took the time to teach Tina to crawl, before the radio, which was blasting Latin pop, then helped little Tina to complete the dance milestone. It was then that I realized that I'd kind of been ignoring Tina socially. So while she continued to cry and generally be a grumpy, unsatisfied, intense infant, I had Sally start chatting to, comforting, and playing with Tina more. This included lots of blowing raspberries, playing peekaboo, and talking, which I had really hoped would help her to learn more social milestones, which in truth sadly just wasn't quite happening. I at least hoped that doing this would grow Tina's attachment to Sally and help her in achieving the top-notch infant traits. While caring for Tina, who was an absolutely chaotic baby, Sally also had her try her first baby food, being papaya paste, as well as her first finger food, being oats, both of which she was unsure about. I then tried giving her smashed avocado, because who doesn't love smashed avocado? Well, the answer is Tina. Tina doesn't like smashed avocado. After caring for them a little, Sally once again harvested some honey and wax from her bees, and she used the funds to purchase a handiness skill book that I had her read a little to increase her skill. I then used a further 100 simoleons to upgrade my crib with a Bird's Baby mobile. Not going to lie, Tina was about a day from aging up by now, but I wanted that Bird's Baby mobile and I was going to have it. I was hoping that it would at least make the remaining nap times a little easier. Also rather thankfully was that after a bit more tummy time together, Tina finally said her first word, ticking off that milestone. With less than 1 day until she became a toddler, I ideally still wanted Tina to learn to wave, to pull to stand, and to play peekaboo, blow a kiss, and blow raspberries. The countdown was on, and despite her many cries and tantrums, at least she was having a blast dancing. Of the 5, during Tina's final day, I managed to teach her to wave, and sadly that was kind of it. With her lifespan bar reaching full, I sent Sally to harvest some honey and wax from her bees, which was then sold and used to purchase a table before a cake was baked. With rage. See, at this stage, Sally was kind of over dealing with Tina and she was ready for her to be done with being an infant. Not going to lie, I understood. Tina was exhausting to deal with, but despite this, I still made Sally bake Tina a second birthday cake after the first came out poor quality. The second also came out poor quality, and I felt that this was the universe telling me that poor quality chocolate cake was as good as it was going to get. To be fair, things can't go too wrong when chocolate's involved. Also, awkwardly, Sally started eating one of the cakes before I could put candles on them too. I was like, relax Sally, you have no friends, so there aren't going to be any guests and you don't have to share the cake. You don't need to get in quick. After adding candles, it was time for the moment of truth. Sally brought Tina to the cake, blew out the candles, and I desperately hoped that she'd grow up with the top-notch infant trait. And I was both thrilled and relieved when she did. Skill-wise, Tina had a decent head start as a toddler. It wasn't perfect as movement would still begin at level 1, but both thinking and communication would start out at level 2. Then when randomizing Tina's traits, I felt like I won the lottery when I got angelic. It was a big switch up from an intense infant to an angelic toddler. But seeing as I currently had 10 simoleons to the household name, I'd take any help that I could get. We've now officially made it through the terrible infant stage, but stay tuned as Tina's toddler phase will be coming soon, with her needing to max every toddler skill during her lifespan in order to gain the top-notch toddler trait. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. See you later!